I'm Diane. I'm a historic interpreter here at Destrehan Plantation. We are currently at the slave cabins, and they would not have been located this close to the main house. They would have been probably a fourth of a mile away from the main house. In front of me, you will see the list of several different inventories while this plantation was operated. As you can see, you would have had the name of the enslaved person, which was typically chosen by the master. You would have had their class, their origin, which meant where they were born, whether here in Louisiana or in Africa. They would have been the age, and there would have also been what the enslaved person did on the plantation, and anything that they may have had, like a hernia or any other illness. And this was also kept not only for monetary purposes, but also if the enslaved person were going to be sold. We'll go ahead and go inside. This is built in the typical Creole style, which meant that there were two sides to each cabin, and there would have been a family living in each side, anywhere from 4 to maybe 8 people. They shared a common fireplace. Sometimes there would have been a bed. We were lucky enough to have this bed in this particular slave cabin. You can see they would have been covered maybe with a moss mattress if they were lucky enough. Some of them may have had bedding. Quite often, though, they were made to sleep on mats. The children especially would have done so. In the back, you would have had another room, maybe where the children would have slept. Everyone also would have taken their meals in here typically, if not maybe on the front porch. Everything would have been cooked in here. You also would have had a vegetable garden on the side of the houses, and that was so that they could provide their own food. During the Creole system of slavery, again, enslaved people were not given as much food and supplies as in other parts of the United States, so they would have had to provide their own through fishing and hunting, and also gardening and such.
Yes, my name is Larry Vance. I am a volunteer here at Destrehan, and I'm going to tell you today about the 1811 Slave Revolt. I believe it's the most interesting story in the entire plantation. All of this began in Haiti. Haiti was owned by France. Haiti made as much money for France as the 13 colonies did for England selling sugar. 450,000 slaves lived on that island, and they revolted 3 years after the French Revolution. If you owned slaves over in Haiti, you knew what was going to happen. You were going to lose everything that you owned. So what they did, the planters over in Haiti took all their slaves, came right here over here to the United States, started their business there. When the slaves from Haiti met the slaves here from the United States, they told them a wonderful word, freedom, and they told them how they get it. They wanted to know how they do this. They said they revolt against their masters. They'll simply take over by sheer numbers. This is what happened. They all met. The Haiti slaves told the American slaves how to do it, to simply revolt, kill as many whites as you can, take their property. It sounded good. So what they did, they started a revolt, took over a plantation. They thought they could have some guns there. There were no guns. So the slaves had no guns to fight with. And you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. I guarantee you'll lose every single time. But they had to do something now. They had attacked this plantation owner. They thought the guns were there, the guns weren't there. So they started coming up the road. Every plantation they went to, their numbers got larger and larger and larger, just like in the movie Spartacus. It got up to 500. This was the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. As they went up the river road, the road that we have literally right out in front of our plantation, they burned plantation homes, they burned sugar houses. Well, eventually, the governor called out the military. 400 professional soldiers showed up, and they also brought heavy artillery. The militia from across the river came in to support the soldiers. I would like to call this a battle. It was not a battle. It was a massacre. Every slave that died in that particular battle lost their head. They died, they took their heads, they put them on pipes. At the end of that, they had some trials. They wanted to make sure that they got all the ringleaders. There were about 60 of them. They had one of the trials right here at Destrehan. They executed the slaves, they beheaded them, put those heads on pipes. What a gruesome act it was. They had about 90 of these particular heads up and down River Road. Then, to add insult to injury, they told the press, whatever you do, do not report this, because they were afraid if any of this information ever got out, that it would go up and down through the South, and they would have a huge revolt, just like they did in Haiti, a very, very bloody affair. As time went on, though, life did return, but there were a whole lot more restrictions back to now slave life. They were heroes, but the only thing they didn't have the right guns and ammunition to fight the military with, and you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, so the poor things lost. 50 years later, they would gain their freedom through the American Civil War.